record. Okay, so just let me quickly show the package.json. So we created a package.json, we installed these dependencies, and then we installed node-mon as a dep dependency, and we created a script of server that will run server.js using node-mon. And now we're just creating our basic Express configuration. We have require, and let's just get Express there. Then we have to start an instance of Express. So it's one of the server. We can just call it server. And right here we can just do Express and run that. And after that, we have to add Express.use Express JSON, which is what we use to accept data as a JSON. Because if we don't have this and we send a JSON file, it just wouldn't work. We wouldn't be able to see inside the rectangle body. So we have that. So let me comment out imports. Setup. And we're going to do middleware. And then and right here we are going to tell which port to run on. So I'm going to say const port equals, and I'm just going to run on 5000. And then we need a server.listen. So to tell our server to run on the port we specified, and then this takes a callback function. It depends on how you write it. So I use a server.js, and I do all my setup there. And you can separate it into files on an index.js and do just the main setup there, and then do the rest on server.js. But usually I just use a main server.js file, and then I run my everything else on routes. So it depends. As long as you have all the code necessary and it's on the right order, you'll be able to break it up in more files. Right here, I'm going to do the console log of, let's use backticks, and I'll just say server running on port, and tell it that we're running on port on the port we specified here. Okay, save, and then I'm just going to do a quick test, and this one's going to be server.get, and in the main path, and then we use the homies, right address. And right here, I'm just going to do a response with a status of 200, and a JSON, and a message of welcome to API. Okay, so are there any ideas of what our API can be about? Just unmute yourself real quick, or write it on the chat. And then Pokemon. Okay, that's a good one. So let's do a Pokemon API. If there are any like that. All right, and now let me share my whole screen real quick. So give me 1 sec. And you share. Okay. And let's go to localhost. 5,000. And we're not running our server yet. So let's run it. Here on server. Oh, there's something wrong. Let's check it out. So express it. Oh, it's just typo. I'm missing an S. Okay, and let's see if it's running now. Yeah, now it's running a server port 5000. And if we go to our main path, we should see a message. All right, so welcome to Pokemon API. And to that Pokemon API. All right, so now let's just build a quick schema of what we need. So first, let's set up, I'm going to open another terminal. Sorry. And let's set up our Kinect file. So for this one, I'm going to do Kinect. I'm going to go to that Kinect file. And for now, I don't need the staging and production. So we're just going to be working on development. All right. And right here, let's say I want to create my database inside a folder called data. And I'm just going to call it DB. So it's going to be the name of my database. Then I'm going to do migrations. And I want my migrations to be inside a directory of data/migrations. And then also my seeds are going to go inside inside data/seeds. So inside another folder.
Is this also where you put the pool?
What are you referring by the pool?
After create, when you're creating the tables?
Yeah, it's the one Luis was just like, I don't remember this, just copy and paste it whenever you need it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but
got that yesterday.
Yeah, but right now we don't really need it. So we're able to create it without it. So let me actually open his project real quick and have a look at it.
Is there a difference between DB3 and SQLite3 files? Is one better?
Usually you see more DB3. Why? I actually think Luis mentioned it, but I don't. Usually just add a DB3, or at the end we end up using Postgres to deploy. But we'll see that next week about adding Postgres to add more SQL functionality. For right now, I'm just going to leave it like this, and yeah. So this all we need for this project right now.
Okay, and also with the database files, you would just create a file and name a database like you normally would, or is there something you would put in the terminal to create it?
The database it's created when we run our migrations.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now, let's start creating migrations. So what are things Pokemon have? So we can say the Pokemon name. We can say their trainer, and then we can say what's something we can say about Pokemons. So we can say type of powers. So if they're electric, I don't remember the other types of water and like, yeah, let's do something like that, and we can do a main to many on those.
Commander.
I'm sorry?
Fire.
Yeah, fire. Let's do like the 4 elements, and then let's create a database of that with some relationships. Okay, so first I'm going to do a migration. key-next migration make, and I'm gonna call it just trainer stable. And see. Oh, it's migrate, not migration, my bad. There you go. And I forgot to add null as default. So let me add that real quick. And just 1 sec, I'm going to go back to start creating those again. Okay. So we have, now it created a data folder and it created a database. And let me delete this one for now. And we have first migration for the trainers. So now key-next migrate make, and now let's do Pokemon table. And now let's create a power stable. And I'm also going to create power dash Pokemon table. Okay, now let's go kind of why we create those 4 tables. So let's kind of create a quick schema. Okay, so
if we wanted to do them in all the same file, we would just concatenate them, right?
Yeah. Usually, it's just because once you start working on it, you kind of start getting your own folder structure. And usually, when I work on key-next, I do it a bit different. I create all my setup inside a server file, and then I like doing individual migrations for each table, just because I think it's a bit cleaner. But you can just do them in one file for like create tables file, and just add them all in there. All right. So let's create a quick schema. So we're going to need an ID, and that's going to be an integer. It has to auto increment and be a primary key and be required. But thankfully, key-next has a really easy way to get all of those in, which is just doing increments. And then we're going to need a trainer name. And for this one, I'm going to set that one to be a string, and it has to be required. And let's say it has to be also unique. So there are no 2 trainers with the same name. And let's do age. So that has to be an integer, and it's required. Okay, so now we have our base schema for this one. And now let's just create all the schemas first. So now let's do the Pokemon. It has to have an ID. Let's just change this one to Pokemon name. And yeah. And right here we can do, let's just do the Pokemon name. And then let's just match it with a trainer. So right here we'll be doing something like trainer ID. And this one's going to be an integer. If required, it's going to reference trainer.id. So the ID of the trainer. Okay. So now we have that one done. And now let's do our powers. So on our powers, so let's do we're just going to do like an ID and like a power name. Or I'm just going to use power. And power is going to be a string, and it has to be required and unique. So we don't have two powers don't repeat. And that's all we are going to do in this one. And then on the power Pokemon table, this is where we're going to match a Pokemon with a specific power. So let's say you have just the 4 elements as powers, and like different Pokemons can share those powers. And we can actually let's play around a bit. And for example, with like Pikachu, I don't know, let's say that let's just play around with the powers, and let's say some Pokemon share more than 1 power. And maybe they do. Not up to speed with my Pokemon trivia. But yeah. By the way, the movie, the live action movie was pretty cool. I liked it. Okay, so in this one, we're going to need Pokemon ID. This one's going to be an integer, and it has to be, let's see, it's going to be required, and yeah, I think that's good for that. And then we also need a power ID, and same, it has to be an integer, and it has to be required. So this one is just to match certain Pokemon with certain powers. Okay, so now let's start doing the tables. So right here we do return Kinect dot schema dot create table, and this one is just strainers. And we have to do a callback, and the argument is your table. So table dot, let's do the ID first. So that one's just increments. And table dot, we have to do the trainer name. So we do string, trainer name. And I'm going to make that as required value. So that's not nullable. And unique. I will go ahead and unique. Okay. And we need an age. So it's just going to be table dot integer age. And this one is also not going to be not nullable because it's required. All right. And this table's done. Let's just do return here. Kinect dot schema. I think, yeah. And drop table of exist. Check if it's with an S or without it. Okay, so it's with an S. And we're just going to drop trainers. So let me add just these one. So all of them real quick. All right. Okay, now let's see where Pokemon's. So for this one, same thing, return Kinect schema dot create table. The first argument is the table name, so Pokemon's, and then the second, it's a callback that takes table as an argument, And let's just do our schema. So table.increments for the ID, then Pokemon name for the name of the Pokemon, and so table.string, and right here let's do Pokemon. And let's make this one required, not nullable, so it's required. Let's make it unique. It doesn't repeat. And now let's set a trainer ID. Dot integer. Trainer ID. And this one is going to be required. So not nullable. And it's going to reference training ID. So we have to make it unsigned. I think I'm writing that correctly, hopefully. And we're gonna make it so it references the trainer.id. And doing this is the same as doing references ID in table trainer. Or actually it's in table trainers, yeah. And let me change this one to Pokemons. And now let's just add, in case we delete the trainer, or actually, I'm going to leave the Pokemon. So I'm not going to add the cascading, because let's imagine like the API, like the logic of how it's going to work. If a trainer disappears, the Pokemon is now free. So maybe there can be a way of getting rid of the trainer ID. But let's leave that for if we have time at the end. So right now, let's just leave this one like this. Well, usually if you want for the Pokemon to be updated or deleted when the trainer is deleted, that matches, you can do that. But that would feel like killing the Pokemon. I don't know. So actually, let's just make the Pokemon disappear too. So that would be on delete, and then you just like cascade, something like that. Let's leave that one out for now. So now we have a Pokemon table, and let's create our powers table. So same thing. I need to make a snippet for this one. It's so repetitive. Just doing the grab table which says create table. So return schema.create table. This one's going to be powers. And place a table as an argument. And right here, let's create a table. So it's going to be table.increments for IDs. Then we're going to have powers. So table.string, and then we're going to call it powers or power. I'm going to make that not nullable. And unique. Right, so I'm missing one. So I'm missing the relationship one. Let me change the Pokemon, yeah, and this one is powers. And after that, let's create a relation table. So right here, same thing. return knex.schema create table, and this one's going to be power slash Pokemon. We do a callback function, and let's just add that table.integer. This one's going to be Pokemon ID. It's going to be required, so that's not nullable. And yeah. And then let's just add the table.integer. I'm just setting the power ID. It's also not going to be not nullable. All right. Have this one, and you could also add table.primary and add those two. I think you had it like this. If I'm wrong, just correct me. All right. Okay, and now okay, so I'm missing this one. So now all our tables are created, and here on the Pokemon one that we're referencing, you can still create like the on delete and on update and cascade. But I'm going to leave those out right now. So let me make sure they're all saved.
In your power Pokemon file, you misspelled your create table.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was going to cause problems for sure. So create table. Thank you. All right. So now we can run knex migrate run. And all right, we got an error. Let's see. Oh, it was typo. So knex run its latest like that. Knex migrate latest, and we got an error. And let's see what was it, so we can fix it real quick. Okay, migration Pokemon. Okay, table is not defined. So yeah, typo. So Pokemon and added a name there. So let's get rid of that. Get rid of the database and just rerun that. So oh, another one. Hopefully it's another typo. Yeah, I misspelled unsigned. Oh, it's G first, right? And all right, so Pokemon table. Let's see. Pokemon ID. Okay, so it seems that I did, right here. Another typo. So instead of Pokemon ID, I said like Pokemon ID. All right, so hopefully there are no more typos now. And if you see a typo, just let me know, because I seem to have a lot of them usually when I'm coding. So knex migrate latest. All right, and our table is created for tables. And I'm just, I use VB browsers similar to SQL Studio. So let's open that database. And I think it's on my desktop. Till hours, data, db3, open. And we have Pokemon's ID, Pokemon Trainer ID. We have trainers. Okay, so that seems to be all right. Okay, so now let's create our seeds. So let's do Kinex seed make. First, I'm going to create a seed for the trainers. Then one for the Pokemons. Then one for the powers. And lastly, the power Pokemon relation. Okay. So now let's go to seeds. And I'm going to open this one on the side. And I think I didn't open it, so let me drag it again. Very good. All right. So right here, I remember we did like a more advanced way of doing the truncate. So just doing like a seed and like a main seed to some logic there. But right now, we're just going to use those simple seeds. So right here, this one's going to be your trainers table seed. I'm going to change the delete for a truncate. So if we run the seed twice, it would like delete the previous stuff in the table, and then it'll set the ID. Because if we run it twice, let's say we have like 3 items, and when we run it twice, the ID instead of being 1, 2, and 3, it'll be 4, 5, and 6, and that can kind of mess up the testing. So here we don't need the ID because the ID is provided by the database. And we're going to give it a trainer name and an age. Okay, so here, Ash, and let's say that he's just like 16. And other trainer names, or who volunteers to be a trainer, a Pokemon trainer. Or else I'll just start picking names from the attendance. All right. So let's add Ems, and let's add Ben. And age, I'm just going to give some random ages. And then I'll add myself too. Okay. So now I'll forget to add my name here, the table name. So trainers and or trainer seed is done. So now let's add Pokemons. Here. Okay, Pokemon, so we need a Pokemon name and a trainer ID. So we don't need the IDs. So Pokemon and trainer ID. All right, and now let's look for some Pokemons. So most popular right. Actually, this was another good thing to do, like and not like a couple of many-to-many relationships. Because just of the logic, I'm just thinking these of creating like a game. Also, a really good tip and something, or I don't know, something like as a best practice, but something I do to like help me create the database, my backends. Is just think of how you would use it on the front end. So I also try to keep things as a front end, and like while you're doing it, try to think, okay, so how am I going to use this portion of it? Also, when designing is really important. So, for example, right here, I just realized I could have done the Pokemons uh, in a different way. So instead of having like the trainer ID straight in there, I could have done like another power to Pokemon relationship, something like this, and I could have done a uh, Pokemon to trainer relationship, just because of the logic of Pokemon's like trainers catch Pokemon, so usually they don't have a trainer, and then if they do, they will be in that table. But let's just keep it like this for now. So every Pokemon is going to have a trainer. So let's go like Charizard, trainer ID of 1. So let's give everyone a couple Pokemons. Okay, so who's going to get Pikachu? We cannot have a Pokemon thing on Pikachu. No Pikachu. Okay, Pikachu. Okay. And let's change some trainer IDs. So I think we have 4 trainers. So let me check that real quick. Trainers. Yeah, we have 4 of them. And let's look for a cool one. That's Frodo. Alright, so let's give every trainer a couple Pokemon. So that's 3. Oh, we're missing 1. Alright. 4 and 4. Okay, let's save that. So our Pokemon's seed is done. Now let's do the powers. So let me open that powers table. And let's just do it so it's more what did I do? Pokemon powers. And right here, let's do oh, okay, so okay, I'll just do like development. There's too many. Okay, so right here, we just need one of them. And we need it's just powered. So let's just say Earth, Fire, water, and like electricity. All right, and let's just do like these real quick. So right here, so now we have the powers, and I almost forgot the table name. So powers. Powers. All right. And now let's do our relations. So power Pokemon, I'm just going to put the powers down here, and the Pokemons too. So I think I can do, no, I need to add a new one. Okay. So this one, we're going to need a Pokemon ID and a power ID. So going to be Pokemon ID. It's going to be an integer and power ID. Okay. So right here, let's just do like very quickly. Okay, so our Pokemon with a power ID of 1, it's Charizard, so let's say that it's fire. Oh, oops. Let's say he has the power of fire, so that's ID 2. And let's just say he also has the power of like electricity. So 4, even if it's not correct. So he has more than 1. And then let's go to the next one real quick, Gengar. I don't really know who that one is. So let's say he has a power of Earth, and just that one. I'll just keep going. Pikachu. Let's say he has electricity, so that's 4, and also fire, or let's say water, because he can like transfer electricity to water. That would make sense. And then Bulbasaur. Okay, I think I created way too many Pokemon. So that's fine. Bulbasaur is just water. So that's ID of 3. And oops. So we have Charizard, and then we have Gengar and Pikachu. This one, Pikachu 2. And then this one's Bulbasaur. Okay, let's keep going. So 5, Lucario. Let's say, this would be really random. Let's say he has Earth and Fire. That's ID of 2. And we're almost there. So let's do 6. Okay, let's say he has a power of fire and water. So we have a bunch of Pokemon. So 8. Let's just say, that's 7, so it's Squirtle. Going to be a 7, water, so 3, and then we can say 8, so we're done. And for default, let's add like 4, like all the powers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So we have our relationship table done, and let me add the name. So should be something here. Power Pokemon. Right. And let's run our seed. Right here we can say next run seed. or Kinect serial run, sorry, Kinect serial run. And something went wrong, and let's check what was it. So error while executing, truncate.then is not a function, so let's, which one is it? Trainers. Where? Oh, okay. So I don't know why a then was added there. Okay, I need these right here. And I didn't add truncating the rest of that, but let's just run the table one. Usually I like adding truncate to all of them. But it's not really going to affect it unless you run it twice or something else happens. So you can just run. Okay, run for seed files. Now we can check our table. So let me open that again. And now we can see that we have Pokemons with their trainers. We have powers set up. And so usually, for example, in the recipe one yesterday, like powers would be like the ingredients. And if you think of it as a front-end developer, if you want someone to create a recipe, you want to know all the powers or all the ingredients, sorry, so they can get from those ingredients. And for example, in this one, if someone wants to create a Pokemon, they would create a Pokemon, and then they would have these powers to choose from. And then they can add them to the relationship table. So let's say all of these. So let me close all of these files. What did it change in this one? Oh, Pokemon.js, what was not saved. Okay, so let me rerun the seed and check that real quick. Oh, I closed it. Okay. So let me close everything real quick. I think there's a way to close all of them from here. Okay, let's go back to our server file. So right here, or first let's create, actually I'm not going to create helper functions, I'm just going to create them straight into the endpoint, so it's a bit faster. The routes, I'm going to create a route directory, and I'm going to create Pokemon route.js and a powers route. Okay, so let's go to Pokemon route. First, let's just tell our Express server to use it. So right here, I'm just going to do server.use. Oops. And then right here, the first argument is going to be the path that where we want to use a route. So let's just say API/Pokemon or trainers. And also I forgot to do something right here. I forgot to import the route. So let's do const. That's const. Actually, let me change the name of this one. Or like of this one here. So trainer route is equal to required routes and trainer route. And now we can just add it here. So right here we're telling Kinect, okay, so when our path gets to API/trainers, run that path inside trainer route. Let's just add that one for now. So, and that one's going to fail because we don't have our route set up. So to set it up, we need to import Express first. And equals require Express. And then we have to add a route or router. So const router equals Express router. And something I always forget, and it always causes problems for me, is this one here. So the module, or not working, exports equals router. So you have to export them because that's how Express is getting them. And now we can see that our server is running. Okay, so now let's get and create some endpoints. So let's just create some really basic ones. So like get, and I'm just going to get one of them, and then I'm just going to go into the ones that require joins, just so we can finish like the main stuff for the like the walkthrough, and then if we have more time, I'll just do the updates, the deletes, and all of those, or we can go into like a Q&A kind of thing. Okay, so right here, actually, I'm going to say, yeah, let's get all of them first. So that's going to be router get the path. So we're getting all the trainers. Okay. Now, just a quick question: how do I access the database from this file? So no 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So to access the database, we have to first of all import Kinex because that's what it's handling our database. So we have to say const Kinex equals require Kinex. And then we have to get our dbconfig file, or Kinex file, or configuration file for the database, which is this one right here. So let's require that too. So const dbconfig equals require this. Add the Kinex file, and then we just have to set Kinex to that dbconfig and the configuration we're using right now. So right now we only have one configuration, that's development. So we can just say const db equals Kinex dbconfig done, and we see usually VS Code will tell you what's available there, and we see there's only development, and now we can use that. So right here, let's just do a quick one. DB trainers, and that's it. So let's do it then. And let's do our response real quick. Okay, and let's test that one out. So localhost, I'm in 5000, and it's going to be API-trainers. And we get our trainers, awesome. And now let's do one so we get the trainers and their Pokemons. And so if we ask for one trainer, let's get that trainer's Pokemons. So let me just create the basic. Actually, we can just get this one. And right here, sorry, let's just do ID/Pokemons. We want to see the specific Pokemons for that trainer ID. And here, what would we use to get the Pokemons? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So I'll just keep going. So here, right here, you will do what is like a left join or like a join, because we have one main table, and then we just want to grab some data from some other table. So our main table is trainers, and then let's just do a quick join. And on the join, we're going to grab data from the Pokemon's table. And usually the way this goes is, okay, so let me get rid of that real quick. Okay. So right here, basically it's like this. So you have like an A table, which is the trainers, and you have a B table, which is the Pokemons. So the main table right here is trainers. So, and you want to join it with Pokemons, with the Pokemons table. And then you have to give it a condition of how to join stuff. So how do we want to join the Pokemons to the trainers? So the first item is the key for the trainers, or table A, and the second item is the key for table B. So let's go and do that real quick. So right here we have trainers, so we're going to get the trainer ID. And actually let's go left, which I think it's the same result, but let's just do it left. And then from the Pokemons, we want to grab that trainer ID. Now let's just do an and right here. And let's just say trainers or Pokemons. Let's do res.status 200 and return those Pokemons as JSON. Okay. So let's go to that endpoint. So we have API/trainers/ID. So let's get the Pokemons for the trainer with an ID of 3. And let's say Pokemons. And oh, on handle rejection, no such column as trainer ID. So that's just a typo. So this is trainers with an S. So this should be good now. And we got an error. Let's fix that. So JSON is not defined. Oh, I'm just returning the JSON, so Pokemons. So let's return that. And run it. So it should be running now. Run it. And all right, now, since we're not using the ID here, we're just getting all the Pokemons. But right here we can see that Charizard now has a trainer, and that trainer now has an age. I wouldn't really need the age in this one, but and then we have the trainer ID. This is part of the important part, because since we're getting the Pokemons, we don't really want the trainer ID, or this is where I think how I would use it. So if I'm dealing with Pokemons, I want that Pokemon ID. Because let's say you're in the front end, and then first you navigate to a trainer, and then you click on the trainer's profile. And you click on the trainer's profile, and you want all his Pokemons to appear. And if you're that trainer, you want the ability to do crowd operations on that Pokemon. So you would want to be able to update and delete. And to do that, you need that specific Pokemon ID. So that's a reason why I would have the Pokemon ID shown. So right here, let's just add functionality, because right now we're just getting all the trainers and all the Pokemons. So trainer ID 1, trainer ID of 2, 3, and 4. All right. So let's just get the ID. So right here we can say const ID equals rec.params. And right now here we can just say where the Pokemon ID, or trainer ID, sorry. Actually, we want to look for inside the Pokemon table, so that's the trainer ID, this one right here. And I think actually I was typing that equals the ID we provide. And now, if we run it again, since now we're looking only for the ones that have the trainer ID we provide, and we run it, and now we only get the Pokemons for Ben, which has the trainer ID of 3. Okay, and now just to curate the data even a bit more, we can do a select. So let's do select, and let's only grab the data we want. So we want the ID. We want the Pokemon. We want the trainer name. So ID, Pokemon, and trainer name. I think, yeah, that's it. And let's run it again. Okay. Ambiguous. Okay, so right here I have to specify. So Pokemons.id. All right. So now this is something I would use, because since I'm just asking for that Pokemon's trainer, now we can know which Pokemon, whose Pokemon is whose. So we can actually create another one, and if we have time, I'll think about it, because I don't really know how to do it. But for example, join all the Pokemons with trainers. So let's say just I'm just imagining, I like to do this because it just helps me to model data. And let's say there's a lobby, or a place where you can see all the Pokemons available, or all the Pokemons that exist in your application. And then people would be able to see, okay, so this is Mudkip, and it belongs to them. Things like that. But this one is just for a specific ID. So we could create something that says Pokemon and their trainers, something like that, and it would be a really similar join. All right, so let's try to do another one. Let's do ID of 2. Yeah, now we get all the Pokemons for their specific trainers. And ID of 4. Let me see which Pokemons. I think I am 4. Yeah, I got Squirrel. I know. All right, so now let's get the Pokemon powers. So actually, we could add it here. But let's just add them in a new line. Let's add them. Actually, let's end up adding them here. But first, let's. And then I would try to add some logic too, or some like I would try to modify how the data is provided, and I'll show that in a bit, or how I would do it. So now let's just add the relationship between powers and Pokemon. Yeah, so this one. Actually, well, I'll just do it here. Actually, I have to create a new route because it's a Pokemon. So let me go to server file. I have right here. Add a new route. Const Pokemon route. Okay. And it's going to crash because we still haven't set up the server. So I'm just going to copy and paste them. And then we just do your module.exports equals router. Save, and that should run. All right. Awesome. We can say endpoints. And now let's say get, let's do two of them. Let's do just get Pokemon weak powers and get Pokemon weak powers and get Pokemon weak power by ID, something like that. And okay, so let's do that. So get weak power. And something, so this one, I will tend to think like, okay, so why do I need to have an extra table? And that would just be so you don't have to write the power every time. So it's just simpler, and usually you can do, like on the front end, you can do another call to our database or another request asking, okay, what powers do I have available? And they can get those powers, and you can add even more constraints and make it more complicated. So if you have certain kind of Pokemon, so let's say you have Y Pokemon, and you can only get these 5 powers for that Y Pokemon. So you may have like 20 powers stored in your database, but for one specific Pokemon, because of some criteria, you can only match that one with 5 different powers. And if you want to add some logic like that or some functionality of that level, if you don't have like a relationship table or something, it's just really tedious because you would have to do it everything like by hand or like hard coded, and that's a lot of job on the front end, and also in the back end. So like for example, your Pokemon table is just going to be filled with data. You're going to have to like write like from scratch every time. Well, when we have a power file or a powers table, we just always have that data ready, and we can match it using the power to Pokemon table. So let's get that going. So router dot get. So I'm just going to say Pokemon powers homies, and right here I'm going to grab my database, and then I'm just going to. Oh, actually, I need to go into the Pokemons first. And then I'm going to do a left join. And first I'm going to get out the power seed. So let me first check this. Now I'm a bit unsure of that. So give me just 1 sec. It's double join, and yes. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to be doing a join. So we have the Pokemon, and now let's join. Let's do a. Okay, let's grab that table. So the power Pokemons. So we're going to be grabbing from this one right here. And then the Pokemons. We're just going to do the Pokemon ID. And from, actually, let me as PP. And let's do here PP dot Pokemon ID. Okay. And let's just return what we get for now. Then Pokemon is the JSON. So now we're in at the Pokemon's path, the Pokemons, and slash powers. That's what we get. All right. So now, oh, we're getting nulls. Okay, let's see why is that. Okay. Let me check the database real quick. Maybe we seeded incorrectly. So let me go there. So browse data, powers Pokemon. Okay, we have them. So let's see what went wrong. So then Pokemon's. So we're getting the Pokemon, we're getting its trainer ID. Okay, so never mind. So we matched them already. So Pokemon ID is null. Okay, let me. Okay, so what about? Oh, okay, sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. You guys should just unmute yourself. Sorry about that. It's also my fault because I said there. So. Okay. So go to import the DB config. Yeah, that's true. Res.status. Oh, you can just skip this status. But usually you want to have status. I just wrote it like that so it's quick. And what about external database middleware from yesterday's lecture, Wednesday's lecture? So what do you mean by the DB middleware? Just like normal middleware or like Kinect middleware? I'm a bit confused by that. Yeah, I'll just keep going and now I'll just have the chat up here. So I don't miss anything from the chat. All right, so we're getting Pokemon's ID and the Pokemon ID from the Power Pokemon table. So I'll just finish this so we have a bit, so I don't take time because we have like 15 minutes left. So let's just check this real quick. So we're getting the Pokemons and we're doing a left join of the recipes, or sorry, the Power Pokemon, and we're getting that Pokemon ID, and then joining that with that table. Why is this null? Okay, I'm just going to do a quick one of the Power Pokemon table, just to see what we get. Let's do powers. Okay, so we're getting that. So we have Pokemon ID and a power ID. So let me just copy and paste this one. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. Okay, so let's see. And this one has to go back to Pokemon's. Rerun. Okay, so let me give me 1 sec. So let's do first the, okay, so Pokemon. Why is this not getting? So I'm just gonna recreate the left join again from scratch. Okay, so we get the power Pokemon table. Let me add that here. We have a power Pokemon table. And then inside that power Pokemon, we have a Pokemon ID. But first we have to get it from Pokemon.id. And then from power Pokemon dot Pokemon ID. Okay. And let's see what that returns. Huh, that's weird. Why am I getting them as null? Just give me 1 sec. I'm gonna try to debug this real quick. So db Pokemon. We get all of that. Okay. So I think it might be my primaries. Maybe I'm doing something wrong in this one. So let me, okay, give me 1 sec. Let me check something real quick. So let's check the guided project. Let's check. Okay, so I think Luis didn't do one of these ones. So yeah, this is just a normal join. Okay. So let me try just do the whole thing and maybe I have to complete it because this is just the first step of getting those. So right here, what we're doing, we should be getting the, well, let me just do join. Let's see if that changes. Or is it just, yeah, it's like that. Let's join. Okay. So yeah, we need a join, left join. And okay, I don't know why these two are null. Okay, let me try to finish it and maybe it fixes itself. So actually, let me get an ID. So let's get a Pokemon ID. And we can check it further if that's why that's failing. So, and let's get that ID. So we're going to check the powers for a specific Pokemon. So ID equals reg params. And let me do a dot where Pokemon ID equals ID. Okay, and let's give an ID to these. So let's do ID of 2. And okay. Let me restart my server. Let me see. I actually think it might be this primary key right here. So let me actually open this one and see how Luis did it. So zoo animals, yes, that's the same. Where is it? Yeah, he's cascading. So and he adds. Oh, okay, so he's referencing them. So actually, let's reference them. Yeah, I do that a bit different. So the way I would do it is that I usually don't use primary ID. So maybe that is why it's not going this way. So let's do one without primary ID, and then let's do one with. So actually, let's just add it. So right here, unsigned, and references. That's Pokemon ID, so Pokemons.id. This one, it's also going to be unsigned. Actually, let me copy and paste this right here. For your references, powers, ID. And let me delete my database, and then I'll see it again. So get rid of my database. And next, migrate, actually, not folder. That's it. Right, and then see the data. Okay, now let's just try that again. So let's see. Okay, yeah, that was the problem. Okay, so the problem was that I set a primary. I set the primaries, but it seems that when you set primaries, you have to reference it to something. So now we reference those to the Powers ID and the Pokemon's ID. Now we are getting the right tables. Yeah, sorry about that. I completely missed this. So now let me remove the where. All right, now we're getting the ID, the Pokemon ID, the Pokemon name, the trainer ID, the Pokemon ID, and the power ID. So right now we just have now to join an extra table, and now we're going to join the. We're going to be joining the ID for the table for the powers. So now that we have done the left join, now this is a whole table, so we're getting this whole thing back. So now we can do dot left join. And right here we can do powers. We're getting stuff from the powers table. And then we're going to get the power ID. And I'll just forget to add quotations. And we're going to match that with the powers ID. And let's run that. And now we can see that we get the powers. So we can see that we get Charizard. So, or if you see, the powers are separate. So So we get Charizard, he has 2 powers. And this is where, actually this is a bit extra stuff, extra work, but normally we can actually get the, if you want to like include the powers like inside an array or something, you have to do something extra. But right now, let's leave it like this, and let's just add, because we want by a specific Pokemon. And then I think I can do what I'm talking about real quick in a bit. So now we're going to say where Pokemon ID. Yeah, where Pokemon ID equals ID. So let's rerun these, and now we're getting the powers for the Pokemon ID of 2. And now, okay, so 2 only has 1. So let's go. I think 8 had all of them. Yeah, and now we get all the powers for that Pokemon. So if this one can be like a function or like an endpoint where the front end clicks on it and, okay, what powers these Pokemon has, and that would make a request to this specific endpoint, and we can give the powers back. So this one, let's just do a quick select. And let's just get the power ID, the Pokemon, and the power. Or let's just get the Pokemon ID. So that will be Pokemons.id. Then we can get the Pokemon name. So yeah, just Pokemon. Then let's get the power. We can just leave it at that. So we're asking for Pokemon with an ID of 4, and we're asking to see its power. So we can see that, or actually, I don't want the Pokemon's ID. Oh well, I don't want the Pokemon's ID because I already know the ID of the Pokemon's I'm asking for. So right here, I want the power ID. So power ID. So let's run it. Oh, we have them there. All right, so we know that the Umbreon has a power of earth, fire, and water, and electricity. So now we create a many-to-many relationship. Because if we go to another Pokemon, let's go to Pokemon number 5, we get the power he has. He has an earth and fire. And now let's do something a little extra. So let's actually do some JavaScript, some logic. So instead of them appearing like this, like in a separate like file, we can actually make it so they appear all in the same one. So let's actually do that. So right here, what we can do is that right here I'm going to create, so this extra doesn't really fit into the purpose of this, but since we finished and we have 2 minutes, let's go for it. So right here, I'm going to say curated data. I'm just normally call it that. I'm create an object. Actually, well, let me just go start in Pokemon powers. Come on. And we're going to create an object, and that object is going to have, actually, I'm just going to create an empty object. And right here on the then, I'm going to modify that object. So let's do, so we get an array back, and each array has a power, and we know that power is for that specific one. So we can actually map. So this is just a quick extra step. So right here we can grab the Pokemons, and do a map around the Pokemons. And right here, actually, before the map, we can just say the Pokemon ID. So we can say, let's see. So for this one, I would remove the select because we want all the data we can. So right here, let me just pass a log Pokemons for Pokemon. And run this with console logs. Oh, okay, so right there. So that's the data we have available inside Pokemon. So we're mapped. So right here we can say Pokemon powers. So that's or this object, and we can create like a new section of it. So we can say Pokemon powers and just like the Pokemon name. So Pokemon equals Pokemon dot Pokemon. So right there, we're accessing these Pokemon right here. And then on the map, we can actually say, so let's just add right here powers and set that to an array. So on the map, we can say Pokemon, which is just like even more Pokemons. So I'm going to change this to response. Okay, now Pokemon's map, Pokemon, or actually powers map. That's a better one. So sorry about all this changing. So powers, and we're going to map around that powers. So now we have the power, and we have each specific power, and that is returning this right here. So from there, we want to grab that power, and we're going to push it inside the powers array. So right here, we grab that power, and we're going to grab Pokemon powers.push, and we're going to push the power. Yeah, these naming conventions weren't very good. So we'll be pushing this right here. Well, I'm just going to call this item. It's not as confusing. And after we do all that, so right now what we have done is that first we added a new property called Pokemon, and that's equal to the powers.Pokemon. So that's this right here. And then we're mapping around powers, and each item, so each one of these objects has a power. So we're pushing that power inside the powers array. And powers, I'll just say an extra powers just because. So now let's just take a look at these Pokemon powers now. So let's actually return it, res.status200.json, and let's return Pokemon powers. And let's also add power ID. So Pokemon powers dot power ID equals, that's going to be, okay, so now this has to be powers 01. And this you would have to add like more constraints to like check if there's actually a Pokemon power, if the Pokemon with that ID actually has a power. So that's why I'm adding the 0 dot power ID. Okay. And let's test that. So now let's run it, and let's see. It says it's okay. So it's running now, and now we actually get that. So we get one. Actually, let me do add it here so it keeps that. So power ID equals, let's say this null now, and Pokemon equals null. Let's wait until it runs. And now, when you ask for now this started to look like a bit more complicated API. So now, when we ask for a specific Pokemon, instead of getting a bunch, like an array of all the Pokemons, we can get that Pokemon, and we can even add more data to this. So imagine you want to make a main endpoint for everything. So for example, here, we also get the Pokemon trainer ID, and right here we will be able to do even one more join. So this one we're just going, actually I think it's even a bit more complicated than it has to be. So let's do that. So we can left join trainers. Then we can grab the trainer ID. And then we can, and actually this one is trainer ID like that. But first is from the A table, so the table we already have. And then we're gonna match that with the trainers. .id. Save. Now we can actually say like a trainer equals null. And right here we can say, let me duplicate this one, trainer equals trainer name. And let's see if that's saved now. Yep. And let's rerun it. And now we have the Pokemon name, the trainer, and the powers of that Pokemon. And you can actually do something like this for the trainers, and you can go like all out, and maybe you can ask for a trainer. You get the Pokemons that trainer has, and you get the powers for that for the specific Pokemons. So this is something really cool, and I like using this. I'm pretty sure there's another ways of doing it, but that's just how I got around that problem. All right, so actually we're late. So any questions, real quick? So no questions, comments, anything?
So is it always .left join?
What was it?
Is it always .left join?
You can do different types of joins, but these should always work like with a left join. But that you would have to go more into what each kind of join is doing. So for example, just really quick, a left join is that, let's say you have an A table and a B table. So in this case, A table is Pokemons, and the B tables are these left join ones. So what this is doing is that we have A table, and we're just grabbing data from the B table, but the A table stays. And actually, there's a really good picture. Let me look for it. And it's a bit confusing, and I'm also not 100% on joins. So I'll have to study those more. So let me, yeah. So for example, this is kind of what's happening, and I'll share this picture in 2 hours. So here we have an A table and a B table. So this is what we're doing right now. So we select something from, we have from table A, and we're gonna join table B. And then we say a key. So we say a constraint or like a condition of how to join. So we're gonna join on A key to B key, and that would be the IDs in our case. So A.ID and B A table ID. And if the IDs is null, it's just not going to join. So that's also like what happens. This is like a table of what happens when, for example, you don't have like a trainer ID. You have like if a Pokemon doesn't have a trainer ID, it won't join it. Okay. But once it has one, it will join it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so let me actually send that table. Share file. So
When will you share this recording?
it'll be it takes around 1 hour to process and around another hour to upload, so around in 2-3 hours.
Alrighty.
And just feel actually anything. Let me share it. All right, that's shared. Okay, so good luck on your sprint. Sorry for taking some of your time. But yeah, good luck, and yeah, you're gonna do great. Okay, see you on Monday on lecture.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.